There's this one thing, this single principle that separates the true legends from the ones who almost made it, the ones who failed at the last second. It's an idea that proves the most important part of any plan is the ending.
Seriously, think about it for a second. We've all seen this happen. Some brilliant person, a leader, an artist, an entrepreneur, they get so close to the finish line. 99% of the way there. And then, bam, the whole thing just crumbles. And we usually just say, oh, bad luck, or what a shame. But is it really just luck, or is there something deeper going on? Maybe the failure wasn't in the final step. Maybe the flaw was baked into the plan from the very start.
To get to the bottom of this, we're going to dive into a powerful principle from Robert Greene's classic, The 48 Laws of Power. We're zeroing in on Law 29, because this law, well, it holds the key. It's what separates a flash-in-the-pan win from real, lasting success.
Now, on the surface, the law sounds, well, kind of simple, almost obvious, right? Plan to the end. But actually mastering it, that takes a whole different level of mental discipline. It's what separates the good tactical players from the true strategic masters. It's really the difference between winning one battle and winning the entire war.
Okay, so what does this really mean in practice? It's about so much more than just setting a goal. It's about developing this God's eye view of the entire landscape. It means you have to think past the moment of victory and consider all the messy stuff that comes after. The envy of your friends, the new problems your success is going to create, the political fallout. When you plan all the way to the end, you stop being a victim of chance and you start guiding it. And maybe the most important part? You know exactly when the job is done. You know when it's time to stop.
Look, to really get a feel for how powerful this lie is, we need to see it in action and what happens when it's ignored. So let's start with the tragic story. A tale of a man who was incredibly brilliant, super audacious, but who ended up being the ultimate cautionary tale. Let's talk about the conquistador Vasco Núñez de Balboa.
So picture this. The year is 1510. Balboa is completely broke, drowning in debt. And his brilliant escape plan? He literally hides inside a supply cask on a ship headed for the Americas. He's got no money, no powerful friends, no 5-year plan. All he has are his wits and this incredible ambition. Right from the get-go, he's forced to just improvise. He's just reacting, moment to moment, trying to survive.
And wow, was he a brilliant improviser. In just a few years, this guy goes from a stowaway to a powerful governor. He seizes opportunities left and right, outsmarts his rivals, he does the unthinkable. He leads his men through this nasty, disease-filled jungle and becomes the first European to see the Pacific Ocean. By any standard, this guy's a hero, right? Destined for the history books, but that same impulsive genius that got him to the top, it was also what was going to bring him crashing down.
This quote from the book just nails it. It perfectly sums up Balboa's whole mindset. He was all heart, all passion, totally caught up in the glory of the moment. A master of the short game, But his bigger plans, they were fuzzy, totally open-ended. He was run by his emotions, not by logic, and that made him completely blind to the larger political game being played around him.
And this was his fatal mistake. Balboa was completely obsessed with the discovery itself, that one amazing, triumphant moment. He never thought about what happens the day after. He didn't stop and think, okay, how's the King of Spain gonna feel about me doing all this without his permission? Or who are my enemies back in Spain, and what are they plotting now that I'm famous? He just didn't think about the politics of it all. He left this huge power vacuum, and you can bet there were plenty of people just waiting to jump in.
And that's what it cost him. While Balboa was celebrating, a jealous rival, a guy who was way less capable but way more politically smart, was sent over from Spain. And Balboa, the great explorer, just walked right into a trap he was totally blind to. He was arrested on trumped-up charges and unceremoniously beheaded, just like that. The man who discovered an entire ocean was taken down because he never, ever planned for the day after his great discovery.
Okay, so that's the tragedy. Now let's flip the coin and look at a true master of this law. Let's talk about Otto von Bismarck, the Prussian statesman who didn't just stumble through history. He was the architect. Every single move was calculated.
Just look at this timeline. It is an absolute masterclass in long-term thinking. From day one, Bismarck had one goal, and it was crystal clear: a unified Germany led by Prussia. That's it. So every war was just a stepping stone. That first war with Denmark, it wasn't really about Denmark. It was a setup for a future war with Austria. And that war with Austria, it wasn't just about winning. It was about kicking them out of German politics so he could set up the final piece of the puzzle, a war with France. Every single action led to the next, all pointing to that one final pre-planned result.
And this is what makes him the absolute perfect example of Law 29. After he crushed France, everyone around him, his generals, the king, they were ecstatic. They wanted more. Let's march on Paris. Let's humiliate them. But Bismarck, he slammed on the brakes, hard. Why? Simple. His plan was done. The goal was achieved. Germany was unified. Going any further would have been pure emotion, a risky improvisation that would create new enemies and put his entire life's work at risk. He knew exactly where the finish line was, and he had the discipline to stop right there.
So when you put these two guys, Balboa and Bismarck, side by side, what do you see? Their fates weren't just about what they did, it was about how they thought. They had two completely different mindsets, two totally different ways of looking at the world. I mean, the difference is just night and day. Balboa was chasing this vague idea of glory. Bismarck wanted something real, something concrete, a unified German state. Balboa was so caught up in the thrill of right now that he couldn't see what was coming tomorrow. Bismarck, he was always thinking 5-10 steps down the road. Balboa was constantly reacting, while Bismarck was making things happen. One was a slave to his emotions, the other was the master.
And that is the real power of this law. See, when you're stuck in the moment just reacting to everything life throws at you, you're basically a pawn in someone else's game. You're a plaything of fortune. But when you plan to the end, you pull yourself out of that immediate emotional chaos. You get perspective. You start to see the patterns. You anticipate what others will do, and you can begin to guide events where you want them to go. It's like you stop playing checkers and you start playing chess.
Okay, so this isn't just some cool history lesson, right? This is an incredibly powerful, practical tool you can use in your career, in your business, in your life. So the big question is, how do we stop being a Balboa and start thinking like a Bismarck?
All right, here's a little playbook. Step 1, get super clear on your end goal. Vague goals are useless. What does success actually look like? Step 2, think about the people. Who's going to be jealous when you succeed? Who's going to feel threatened? Plan for that. Expect it. Step 3, get a handle on your own emotions. Don't let a little win make you cocky, and don't let a small loss make you give up. And finally, number 4, know the finish line. Define what winning looks like so you know when you've crossed it. The point isn't to just keep going forever. It's to hit your target and then lock it down.
Now, here's a really important point. Planning to the end does not mean you create this super rigid, inflexible plan that's going to break the second something goes wrong. In fact, it's the opposite. Think of it like this. Your end goal is a port you're sailing to. As long as you know exactly which port that is, you have total freedom to navigate. You can dodge storms, you can ride the winds, you can change your route, because you always know your final destination.
So I want to leave you with this question. Think about the biggest, most important project in your life right now. I'm sure you know the first step. You probably even know the next 10. But have you really, truly thought it all the way through to the very end? Have you planned for the consequences of your own success? Because as we've learned today, the ending isn't just one more step. The ending is everything.